Welcome to Canopy Uncovered, where we explore the ideas, conversations, and stories that matter in real estate and our communities. From market insights and policy updates to innovation, leadership, and real impact, each episode brings you a different perspective. A production of the Canopy Realtor Association, this is Canopy Uncovered, the C-Suite. In this episode, we're talking about global real estate and why it matters. Host Joan Goode, 2026 president of Canopy Realtor Association and Canopy MLS, talks with Kate Reisinger, chief operating officer of leading real estate companies of the world, and Jessica Edgerton, chief legal officer and executive vice president of industry and learning for the Global Network. In this episode, they explore how global real estate trends are showing up right here at home, and why now is the time for agents to think strategically about scaling, specialization, and positioning their businesses for what's next. Whether you're actively working with international clients or simply looking for ways to elevate your business in a changing market, this conversation offers insight into how global thinking can open new doors. Thank you for listening to this episode of Canopy Uncovered, presented by Canopy Realtor Association in Charlotte, North Carolina. Connect with us at carolinahome.com.
We are so fortunate to have two of the greatest industry leaders here with us today. I am so happy to have this conversation with Jessica Edgerton and with Kate Reisinger. You guys are in for a treat. I cannot wait. Sit back, relax, and learn from these incredible professionals. To start us off, what we are focusing on at Canopy is we have recently started a global committee. And what we're learning is global is really important. And it's not just a word, it's really a lifestyle and a way of real estate. So what I'd like to start off with is asking the two of you, why is global real estate becoming such an important role in the conversation for today's realtors, even agents who might think of themselves as purely local practitioners? And Jessica, let's start with you, and then Kate, if you could respond.
I think right now, the global landscape, there are a lot of false narratives right now. I think people sort of think, oh, well, we got a lot going on globally, and, there's a lot of sort of immigration narratives in the United States right now. But the truth of the matter, when you actually look at what the numbers are doing, there is a trend upwards in every single global analytic that is important for real estate practitioners looking to get into the global market. We sort of hit a low point when it comes to existing home purchases in the United States by non-U.S. foreign buyers. That number is now trending up, and it's trending up quickly. 2024 was 54-ish, a little higher than that, thousand number of existing home purchases in the U.S. 2025 was 78, and we are hitting, depending, it's all regional, right? But we are already in this 2026 home market. We went from 54 to 78. We are trending up even higher this year. There is so much opportunity for U.S. buyers looking to connect with foreign buyers in coming into the United States this year. And those numbers are just going to keep going up.
I think, right now, all of our agents are really serving clients whose needs are global. And so when you start to think about the landscape, you may have a client that lives in one country, they invest in another, they educate their child in a third, and they could potentially be pursuing lifestyle activities in all of those. Global mobility is increasing every single day. People move for careers, they move for, investment, like I said, and often that crosses borders. So I think for all of our agents, we have to remember that our client relationship doesn't stop at the edge of our market. It really extends across the globe. There's more access to data than ever before. And there's also, when you see in some of the younger generations, you see more of a mobile lifestyle because many of them are able to work from their laptops. And so their needs in having a trusted global advisor is more relevant than ever in real estate.
So what I'm hearing is global is not some foreign, far away. Global is now, global is real. So help me understand, when realtors hear the term global real estate, Many immediately picture luxury listings or international investors. From your perspective, what do agents most often misunderstand about what global really means in today's market? Let's start with you, Kate.
Thank you, Joan. Well, I love your picture and your description of what global is, because I agree that a lot of people think of a luxurious pied-à-terre in Paris and all these different things, but global real estate is so much more practical than that. Global transactions start as everyday moves, either a job relocation, your child's going to study in another country, you want to buy a second home in another place, or you just want to simply invest. And so I think it's much more practical than that. We talked about the fact that our clients have a lot of access to data, and that data transcends geography. And so they're more informed and they are more worldwide. And it's less about selling that property in another country and more about serving your clients whose lives naturally move between markets.
Jessica, could you add to
and
that?
to Kate's point too, I mean, on sort of beyond the luxury, third, fourth, fifth homes, there are a lot of folks who, and again, I'm sort of bringing it back to international buyers coming into the United States and opportunities there. But there are a lot of folks that are watching, first of all, have kids who may be coming to the States, right? And are, when it comes to sort of that rent versus own for their children, for jobs, for whatever it is, we're in a very economically fluctuating world right now, and the dollar is weakening right now. And I think one of the things for real estate professionals to look at as they sort of monitor the global situation is that strong dollar versus weak dollar. That's something really important to keep in an eye on. Weaker dollar means outside folks are going to be much more likely to be interested in buying within the United States. We're in that market right now. So as people are coming in, sort of doing the analysis of how do I want to interact with a dwelling, a home, a second home, real estate for my kids, whatever it is, there is a huge trend depending on where the U.S. dollar is. Same goes to Kate's points with outside. If U.S. investors or if U.S. buyers are thinking about a good time to buy, stronger dollar, those are good times to sort of have those conversations. So stay up to date and up to speed on the global economic realities, because that is an important part of any conversation about international real estate.
And did you think that possibly the conversation starts with where are you vacationing? Because don't you think vacation, travel, trips, people are seeing more of the world. Goodness gracious, you can't take a flight without it being packed. And I think more people are traveling to the United States and truly all over the world. And don't you think that these purchases start from vacation? Because I think what both Jessica and Kate said was they're looking for lifestyle. So when they go on vacation and they're somewhere beautiful and they're relaxed, even though they have their laptop and they may be working, they know as soon as they close that laptop, they're on vacation, if you will, wherever they live. So do you see that as an increase to global market? I'll start with you, Jessica.
Absolutely. I mean, folks are spending a lot of time vacationing, traveling right now. There's also a lot more mobility when it comes to where you're working. I mean, sure, we're sort of trending a little bit down from the pandemic, digital nomads, but that is never going to go away. And there are a lot of folks that have a lot more flexibility about, they'll vacation somewhere and then realize, wow, I can spend a significant amount of time here working because I've got my computer with me. Let me look and see what opportunities there are for, if not a first home, a second home where I can have a landing pad.
What are you seeing, Kate?
The Wall Street Journal published an article that said more Americans, for the first time in history, more Americans are leaving the U.S. than coming in. And I think that's a generational shift. I think you see in our areas that we've gone to our global symposium with leading real estate companies of the world, Portugal has been a mecca for those who want that laid back lifestyle you're talking about, just a beautiful country and beautiful people. Prague, our member there said to me, we have such an influx of people to Prague because it is such, number one, a beautiful city, but it truly has an energy that is second to none. And so I do think that when people go on vacation, they see the possibility of living in some of these amazing places that the world can give us. And so I think it's an interesting time.
So just to add to this point, a friend of mine, when you said generationally, it made me think of this. So his wife, his new wife, they're newlyweds, been married a year. She works for a technology company. She's in IT. She can be anywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
He is in the service industry. And so he told me they currently live in Morocco, but he said whenever a city gets on Instagram, then everyone comes and we're moving. They are the true nomads. They are
Yeah.
constantly moving. She's originally from Milan, Italy. They met in college. And thank heavens those two worlds came together because he's all about let's go to the next place. And she's in IT working for a pretty big IT firm there with her laptop. And they're literally moving until Instagram can't find them. And that is such a generational thing. As
Yeah.
a friend of mine whose children are the same age as mine, I'm thinking, now that's so cool. Can I go back to my 20s and start over? Right?
Yeah. It's so amazing. I
It's,
love that. The flexibility.
yes.
And another layer of opportunity sort of in that story is, and this is another sort of tip for agents that are looking to move into these areas, when you are having conversations, oh, you've got a kid moving, oh, you've got, you're moving for dual reasons, husband and wife. There's another layer there, which is, wait, your husband's also got a business thing going on. Do you want to talk about a commercial space? Are you looking for as an additional layer of real estate as you go? Don't miss those opportunities. There are huge, huge multi-layered residential and commercial needs for everybody who's doing this kind of global mobility right now. So keep asking questions.
That is a great point because really to get to a solution, you have to ask a lot of questions. Great point. And I think you're right. Commercial is overlooked very often. I have a question. Over the past 5 to 10 years, how's the concept of global real estate evolved? And today, what does global really look like beyond traditional interaction and traditional international transactions? We know that it's changed since COVID, but what are you seeing, overall? You're in so many places. And Kate, let's start with you with your global knowledge.
I think it's what we're talking about. There's so much capability now for people to be mobile, to work remote, to have these different opportunities across borders. And so I think what's really important is for all of us out there is we're capitalizing on the data. We're using the data to understand migration trends and understand where the shifts are occurring. And how do we serve those needs then of our consumers? How are we globally connected, right? Through leading real estate companies of the world, as you alluded to, Joan, we're connected to, 550 companies in over 70 countries. And that's not just a statistic. We're a phone call away from the best broker in that market. And so I think it's just really being aware, leaning in to the data. Above all else, this business is relationships. And Joan, you come to all of our global events. You've made amazing connections worldwide. So I think those are the things that now global really encompasses.
Jessica, what thoughts do you have?
Agreeing with everything that Kate said, this really does come down to relationships and also recognizing that despite sort of, we're in such a time of turmoil right now, it's hard to remember that we are also, despite all of the uncertainty right now, in an undeniable period of global economic growth. All of the regions, APAC, Europe, the Americas, even the Middle East, although so much uncertainty there is significant overall economic growth that's being projected in the 2% up to 3 to 5%, depending on the region, overall economic growth. That means residential and commercial real estate growth as well. It's also, I think, so important to look at emerging markets, right? Africa is an emerging market. We've brought on so many incredible real estate brokerages recently in various countries in Africa. So really understanding that every global contact that you make, every step that you take outside of your community means more relationships, more opportunities, including in areas of the world that will not only benefit from your contact with them, but that will deeply, deeply continue to feed your business opportunities. There's synergies happening everywhere. And it's a really, really beautiful reminder of human connection, even in tough times globally, like what we're going through right now.
Very well said. It's so true that now it becomes human instead of just some location, right? So you do feel, pulls at your heartstrings because you think of an individual. You just think of a place on the globe any longer. It's, oh my goodness, this is a person. I know this person. So very well said. And I think one thing I've learned in this business is relationships often travel further than we do. So how does being part of a strong global referral network actually translate into opportunities for agents' day-to-day business? I know how that works for me as a practitioner, but I would love to hear what you're seeing at your level. And let's start with you, Jessica.
I mean, I'm gonna toss this over to Kate pretty quickly because she's boots on the ground with all of our members, local and global, and has some really, really cool stories. But what I will say is across the network, we are seeing, Kate just said we just got done with our global symposium in Prague. We just got done with our Las Vegas Big National. We had folks from, Kate, what was the final count on countries that were there?
I believe 28.
28. And in Prague, we had how
35.
many? 35. I mean, it's incredible. And the sort of the high level story from both of those is people come to us immediately and say, I just made the most incredible connection. I am now doing business in name the country. I have a client who's been desperately seeking a connection in the Caribbean. Now I've got Jeremy and we're doing business, whatever it is. There is so much business to be made. So the recommendation is please make sure that every opportunity you have, including now with all of the amazing things that Canopy is doing under Joan's leadership, like this is business opportunities that are being created through these new coalitions. It's so valuable.
You hit the nail on the head. It's relationships. Everything we're talking about is relationships. And I think belonging to a network or making those relationships, the difference is they're trusted partnerships too. There's a layer of trust there when you are part of something bigger. And you're forging these opportunities and these relationships. And so I think, being able to share business with a trusted professional in another country, in another city in the US, I think that's really powerful. They have the same level of service and expectations that you do. And so it's really powerful to be able to ensure that to your client as they move across borders. I think the other thing I like to always say about referrals and the power of networks and networking is it's not just about people leaving your market. Really, it's about anybody you know, anybody in your sphere. Joan, you're in Charlotte, but if you've got a friend in Seattle who's going to Dubai, you can help them. And that's the power of a connection in a huge network or group, such as Leading Real Estate or Canopy or any other association and organization out there that you're a part of. So the connections are incredibly powerful, and the trust you build is even more so.
So well said. Go ahead, Jessica.
Yeah, I was just going to say too, I think so many people think that where they are isn't maybe a global hub, right? Like, oh, I'm in Charlotte. It's, people like it, but whatever. Charlotte's actually North Carolina is actually one of the top 10 foreign buyer purchase areas in the United States. Like, there's opportunity everywhere. So is Illinois, actually, where Kate and I are. Like, you just, because Chicago is so cool. But, I mean, there's just, it's not just New York. It's not just California, right? There is opportunity everywhere. And for the listeners in the Canopy footprint, like, it's there. You just have to Kate's point, like, make those relationships, talk to people, ask questions. And it is not a, sort of dig and dig and dig and, oh, there's something. It's right there. You just have to talk to people.
I agree. And I'm so sorry, Joan. I
No,
just
go
had
ahead.
a
We're
story
getting excited.
a story came to mind. Yeah, that's so incredibly powerful. You know, we had a listing, one of our members had a listing in Ohio, and they had really used the channels of the network to get that listing out there and to really talk about this beautiful property. And what transpired, and I think this goes to tell you, you never know where your buyer is coming from. An expat sitting in Australia picked up the phone, called, and bought that property sight unseen. And so that's the power of global connectivity. That's the power of relationships and networking. You just never know.
That's incredible. So what I hear you saying is relationships build revenue, but relationships make it feel like recess.
Yeah,
exactly.
There you go. Yeah.
Get in the sandbox. Get dirty.
That's right.
Get
Play
in
with
the
the
sandbox.
trucks.
That's exactly what I'm hearing. So thank you for that clarity. That's fabulous. So giving everything that we're seeing in markets like Charlotte, we brought that up, growth, mobility, international investment, why do you believe now is the right time for realtors to lean in to global education and relationships?
Sure. I mean, it's never a bad time to be leaning into education, in my personal opinion. But right now, I mean, for all the reasons that we've been talking about, there's so many global indicators that 2026 will be a very powerful year. Global economic expansion is happening across the board, which means more real estate opportunities across the board. Even in the U.S., again, we keep referring to all of the uncertainty, but mortgage rates are trending in the right direction. Affordability is trending in the right direction. Inventory is trending in the right direction, which means foreign buyers are going, the dollar is trending in the right direction for foreigners to come here and look for opportunities for investment. All of this means prepare. You've got to, there are subtleties, and it's not just about finding the opportunity, right? It's about understanding how different people coming from different regions will feel comfortable transacting. It's about cultural differences. It's about knowing if you've got somebody who doesn't have strong English or Spanish or whatever language, is your primary or secondary language, to know I have a person who is going to be a wonderful translator for you. Here they are. Start making all of those connections, making sure that you have the ecosystem to create comfort and confidence for people, no matter what region of the world that they're coming from. It's about human connection across cultures, not just across borders.
Thank you for that. Kate, would you like to add anything?
Sure. I mean, I think the power of education, we know it, but I think it is more relevant today than ever before. And that's because our consumers and foreign buyers and Americans going overseas, they have access to so much information, and it really is up to us to guide them through that data, to be that advisor. And so it's important that we're continually learning, continually educating ourselves so that we can be that trusted advisor, because there's a lot of misinformation out there too in the world. And so I think that's also a powerful point of continuing to lean in and learn and ensure you're at the top of your game always.
I appreciate that. And an example I could give that is, of course, any type of courses that you could take, right? That's incredibly important. But this goes back to relationships. When you learn and build from relationships. And Michael Saunders, she's such a well-known powerhouse in our industry and very globally connected, and I believe on the board as well. So I was in Vegas. I went up to her and I said, we just started a global committee and I'd love to take some time to talk to you about it. She said, I'll do you one better. We connected phone numbers and she's going to set up a call with me to sort of help guide me of next steps because we're not new in this market and I don't want that to be a misunderstanding, but this committee is new. It's just in its second year. We've thought about it for a while and we finally solidified it. So the relationships are also educational.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And Joan,
100%.
one of the beautiful things about your tenure as president is that you have already established the most powerful ecosystem. And, part of it is, you got friends with leading RE, right? Not only is Michael on our board and actually the chair of our board, but she also is a crucial part of our global advisory board. So she is so deeply tied in to our global network. So Joan, you got friends in all the right places, lady.
That story illustrates the power of networking. It also really hits me, in the sense that everyone is so willing to give to each other and in this industry. We do want to further each other. We want to be able to lift each other up. And I love hearing that, Joan. So thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah, it was an incredible connecting moment that I wanted to share with you and for our audience that education is all around us. We learn from each other. We learn from our relationships, and don't forget that. So another thing that I wanted to get your take on, and this is again another educational piece, but Kate, I think you know more than you think you are, because you are contributing a lot. So for agents listening who might be intrigued, but really unsure where to begin, what is one practical step they could take to start engaging in global real estate without feeling overwhelmed? And whoever wants to start.
Relationships. I think a lot of this is really, think about who you know and really leverage your network first. Let them know you have this capability, that you are a global advisor, that you have connections, because I think sometimes we take that for granted. We know that we're part of it, but does everyone we know that? Do they understand the power and the capability we have at our fingertips? And that we want to serve them outside our local borders, or if they, our friend in Paris has somebody coming into Charlotte, we can certainly assist. So I think the first step is awareness. Get that awareness out there, make it known, and leverage your sphere.
Thank you. Jessica, would you like to add?
So I grew up traveling every 3 years to a new country, starting when I was 5 years old because of the nature of my father's job. And what that experience taught me was stay humble, stay curious, and never be afraid to talk to people, including across what might be viewed at first as a cultural or language barrier. People want to connect with other people. People love learning. So be bold. Get over whatever inhibitions you have about sort of not being able to say things clearly. Like, we always overcome that. Humans love connecting with other humans. And guess what that means? That means new friends, and that means new business. So, don't be afraid to be a little weird. Just stay loving, keep an open heart, and go out and connect with everybody you can.
Very, very well said. So our new motto, instead of keep Austin weird, it's keep real estate weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. We're
Being
gonna have
weird
t-shirts
equals
soon,
business. We need shirts.
But
We do.
that yeah, and I think it's a beautiful statement because, Jess, because in a world filled with so much artificial intelligence and machine learning, which are all good, entities in and of themselves, I think as we continue down that path, people will crave that human connection and that authenticity. So I think that's a great point.
We're so fortunate to be in this business where we take people from where they are today to where they want to be. How lucky is that? And we get to wake up every day and do this. And not only that, we are doing this with other people with the same goal in mind. So back to what you said so eloquently, both of you, keep those relationships at the forefront of your mind, because you never know who the next best friend is, who the next relationship is, and what the next revenue will be. So I want to bring it around to associations who play such an important role in building confidence and access for members. Beyond education, what are some ways realtor associations can help agents feel more comfortable and capable stepping into global real estate?
I mean, it is creating the opportunities to connect. It's having these conversations with folks. It's you kind of embody what needs to be done, I think, across the board. Engage with all of the opportunities that your association is creating for you, especially during years like this when you've got a leader who is so deeply involved with so many cross-cultural and global opportunities like leading RE.
Yeah.
Kate, would you like to add to that?
I think, for everybody listening, lean in.
Is there one idea or takeaway that you hope realtors remember from this conversation? And if so, what would that be? Kate, let's start with you.
I think it's just a summation of everything I've said. Really, tap into your relationships, really tap into it. I think we say that, but we need to be very intentional every day about how we're approaching our work, how we're approaching our relationships, and how we're approaching our humanity, honestly. I think there's so much possibility out there. There's so much opportunity. And you said it, Joan, we're helping people achieve their dreams. And that is a very powerful thing. So I think every day we get up, we be proud to be a part of this beautiful industry. We be grateful for the work and the clients and the relationships we have, and we go get it done.
It's hard to beat what Kate just said, but I guess I would add on to that: stay curious, and keep an open heart. This is a time when so much in the media and the world wants to create divisions, and is up to us. And the kind of industry that we are in really is ultimately, foundationally, about creating connections and opportunities. So keep that at the forefront of everything that you do.
And as we know, Charlotte's growth story is still being written, and more it's a global one. So for realtors, the opportunity isn't just to watch that happen, but to be a part of it. I'm so grateful to have this time with Jessica and Kate. It warms my heart, it makes me happy, and I hope everyone listening has gotten some nuggets that they can take away and utilize today. Thank you so much for your time.
For our listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, share this with your colleagues, and join us next time. Thank you for listening to this episode of Canopy Uncovered, presented by Canopy Realtor Association in Charlotte, North Carolina. Connect with us at carolinahome.com.